It's time for take a look at the front page of the newspapers now. But let's begin from this day newspaper of record and look at the biggest story on the headline there. Rivers Assembly adjourns indefinitely. Fubara write a fresh letter for budget presentation. And some of the writers there say Pandef threatens to disband peace committee if Wike keeps rebuffing truce. Ijo groups, Bode George, Flay FCT minister, ask president to call him to order. Well, that's the major headline on the front page of this day newspaper of record. And take a look at the another one there. Appeal court halt Sanusi's reinstatement as Emir of Kano. Away from there, federal government refute U.S. Congress claim, insist Christians not target of killing. And if you take a look at some of the writers, they describe a narrative as handiwork of fifth columnist. Muslim death outnumber that of Christians, ex-minister Dambaza declares, and says poverty, no religion fueling killings. And when you pick up the newspaper talking about this day newspaper, of course, you can get the details of that there. This day survey reveals sustained drop in food prices. Well, hopefully, of course, as the hit the market this week or next week, we'll see relief coming or respite coming the way of Nigerians. Their traders attribute trend to cessation of hoarding artificial price hike. Governor Abiodun hails Tinubu. Well, that's coming on the front page, talking about, you can get details of that on page 5 of the This Day newspaper to take a look at the survey that This Day has done on food prices in the Nigerian market. Well, that's it with This Day newspaper. But let's take a look at some other newspaper now. Punch is next. Let's take a look at Punch. What's on the front page of the Punch newspaper? Buhari's ex-ministers lead APC defection train to SDP. Some of the writers there say 10 former senior ministers set to move with loyalists. CPC bloc may exit APC. Campaign against Tinubu. Well, a biggest one there for the APC to handle, perhaps. Dangote Refinery gets fresh crude cargoes from NNPCL. That's business there. But again, politics for Fubara in limbo as lawmakers suspend sitting indefinitely. I was talking about the rivers crisis that is ongoing now. But let's move away from there and take a look at the Guardian newspaper. At Guardian Woman Festival, echoes of financial literacy, accelerated investment keep pulsating. Well, that's on the front page of the Guardian newspaper there. But let's take a look at some of the writers there, or I beg your pardon, some other headlines here. CBN driving 2024 to 2028 strategy with merit-based appointment. Atiku Abubakar as bell tolls for a political maestro. You can get the details of that and see what is saying on page 8 and 9 of the Guardian newspaper. Before River State fire consumes Abuja. Well, of course, that's coming from a columnist there. You can just get a copy of the Guardian newspaper to get the details of that. Let's move away from there now as to take a look at the Vanguard. Vanguard Nigeria is... okay, all right. Let's move away from Vanguard and take a look at the other newspaper now. But I think I can see... well, Vanguard Saturday here, judicial panel fought Supreme Court judgment, how to lower fuel consumption of your car, and a host of other you know, the headlines there now. But let's take a look at the leadership weekend. Leadership is next. The major headline, screaming headline there, Rivers crisis deepens as Assembly adjourns indefinitely. And let's take a look at some of the riders there, which says uncertainty over Fubara's presentation of 2025 budget March 19. State government worried, says action will affect payment of salaries, pensions. Lawmakers can reconvene if expedient. That's coming from APC spokesperson. Lawyers task legislators on execution of Supreme Court judgment. And INEC releases voters register for Rivers local government election. And you can get details of that when you pick up a copy of Leadership Weekend there. But FCTA names VIP ward in Maitama Hospital after Wiki. Of course, you can get the details of that. Kano Cam, as appeal court Hot Sanusi's reinstatement. You can get the details of that when you pick up a copy of the Leadership newspaper. Page 6, you can get the details of the latest development as regards the issue around reinstatement of Emir of Kano, Sanusi there. Presidency dismisses U.S. report on persecution of Christians. Fraud allegations, false unfounded. That's coming from First Bank there. Bandit pays 50 million ransom on abducted Bishop Kuka's brother. Well, you can get details of that when you pick up the copy of a Leadership newspaper. Well, let's take a look at some other newspapers here. Tribune is next. Federal government tells U.S. Congress Christians are safe in Nigeria. Some of the riders deplores threats of sanctions over alleged killing of Christians. Other stories, they say Rivers Assembly adjourns indefinitely. Get the details on page 4 of the Tribune. Defection. Omokri mocks El-Rufai over Buhari. You can get the details of that on page 4 of the Tribune there. 90 people, not 500, affected in Leshiloye Ibadan market fire. That's according to victims. Well, you can also get, of course, some other headlines there. Appeal court halt Emir Sanusi's reinstatement order. I regret tearing my NCE certificate. That's coming from S. Boko Haram female member. Of course, that's it with the Tribune. Well, let's head straight to Ghana now with daily graphic. We'll start with daily graphic outside the shores of Nigeria. At swearing in of new IGP, police need urgent reforms. That's coming from President Mahama. When you pick up the copy, a daily graphic, of course, you can get the details of that story there. Well, Weekend Trust is next. Is Nigeria's economy improving? Well, you can see some of the sketches on the front page of that. Well, this is very, very necessary now. Heat wave rages. Meningitis, rashes, other diseases on the rise. Avoid sun, take plenty of water. That's coming from the expert. Of course, you may want to pick up a copy of Weekend Trust to get yourself updated on how to, cope with the recent rise in heat wave there. Federal government to U.S. Christians not target of insurgency in Nigeria. Well, that's it with some of the major story of on the front page of the Weekend Trust. Let's get to Financial Time Weekend. Spending cut ruffle tens cabinet. And you can pick up a copy of Financial Time Weekend to get details of that. Some of the writers say there says tough spring statement looms. Shrinking economy limit reaves. Fears for core pledges. Well, just pick up a copy of Financial Time Weekend and get the detail of that story. But the Times Saturday is next. The real Camilla and the love story behind the throne. You can also get that newspaper and, of course, get the details of that story, what is going on within the royal house there. Well, 1 million to have disability benefit cut by Labour. Well, that's coming from the Labour. The Chancellor vows to get a grip on welfare bill. So you may want to get details of what is going on in that country. Stop your games, Starmer tells Putin. Let's take a look at the Daily Telegraph now. Daily Telegraph is next. This one says, stop your games, Starmer tells Putin. And that's, of course, that's also talking about the Russian leaders who is showing disregard for a Trump plan, says member of parliament, and of course a prime minister there, who is talking about how Russian leaders are showing disregard for Trump plans, and talking about also the ceasefire issue, which is also ongoing, the ceasefire talks, which is also going, and the prime minister saying before the European Union NATO summit there. Well, of course, that's it with the Daily Telegraph. Let's take a look at other story now. The Independent is next, of course. This one says, Ukraine exclusive, revealed thousands of kidnapped children hold keys, hold key to ceasefire. That's what that headline is talking about. As Trump hails, good and productive U.S. talks with Putin. The Independent can reveal Ukraine's red lines in any peace deal, including insistence on the return of thousands of citizens, young and old, taken hostage by Russia. Well, that's it with the Independent there. But let's quickly take a look at this before I allow you to go. The Guardian, well, the UK Guardian is next. Prime Minister, Putin must not play games over ceasefire. Everyone seems to be on the side of Ukraine, how Russia must not play with this conversation and, of course, negotiations around the ceasefire there. Well, of course, that's it with the front pages of the newspapers here. Well, that's all we have for you, all we have here on Daybreak. And it's goodbye from me. I am Frank Omalape, but keep it here on Arise News.